conference play, there's not a lot of room for error. And tonight, we've been treated to a good old-fashioned street fight. Mountain West Conference action brings us to Boise, Idaho, where the Fresno State Bulldogs score off with the Boise State Broncos. And hello everyone, courtside with the coach, Dave Miller. I'm David Gascon. Thanks for joining us tonight on FS1. Where, Dave, we get a good look at one team that's been hunted all season long, while the other's looking for some traction.
Well, for Fresno State, they're just coming off a UNLV win, so they're going to try and piggyback a win tonight and get some momentum. For the Broncos, it's about defending that regular season championship. They can't have any slippage tonight.
As we look at the starting five here tonight, for Fresno State, if they're going to pull off an upset here tonight, one guy in particular you circled is Jamal Baker.
Well, Baker, he's a three-level scorer. Catch and shoot, drive in, post up. Not a high-level athlete, but he has a high-level IQ to get to the spot. He's going to have a huge night this evening.
And Boise State, the defending Mountain West Conference champs, regular season and also in the tournament. How important is this for Leon Rice to not only complete the feat here in the regular season, but to go back and earn another NCAA bid?
Well, the recipe is you have to win all your games at home, and then you at least have to split on the road, and the championship teams can sweep on the road, but it all starts on your home court.
Shaver into the corner, Najee Smith. At the basketball right now. Bad pass in there at one, and it's turned over to Fresno State. David, it's one thing with Fresno State. You look at the numbers and you say, okay, 7-11 overall. They're 3-4 in conference play, but they've been banged up. 61 games lost due to injury for scholarship players.
Well, they're a blue-collar team, and it's the next man up. They'll defend, they'll rebound, and Hudson has done a great job taking his San Diego State University mentality and morphing it into his own here for Fresno.
Yeah, for Fresno State, 7-11 overall, but did pick up a big victory a couple days ago against UNLV. The alley-oop to Andre is beautiful.
Well, they certainly have the pieces. They just need more pieces if you talk to Coach Hudson.
And a game against UNLV, they controlled the tempo throughout the 40 minutes. They led by 3 at the end of the first half and walked away with a 13-point victory. That shot drawn back iron from Rice. Defensive rebound for Fresno State, and back come the Bulldogs.
Well, this is a game for Boise State that's very concerning because this team has no quit, and there's a toughness to it. So we're going to see which team can impose their will and hit first on both ends of the floor.
Andre in the lane again. This one a little short on it. Defensive rebound controlled by Smith, and back comes Boise State. Game is just about 95 seconds old. Glad you could be here with us on a rather chilly Tuesday night. Shaver pulls up from the free throw line, rims in and out, no good. It's a rebound for Andre. Eduardo, 6'11", uses his entire frame. Hill into the corner. A three-pointer on the way by Baker. Gets a shooter's touch for 3, and it's 5-0 Fresno State.
Well, Boise State is going to have to pick up Hill sooner. You've got to level him off and make him play sideline to sideline. You can't let him get down the tunnel and find his shooters on the perimeter.
Offensively, Boise State's been crisp this year, scoring about 73 points per game. The defense is on the mark. That's a bad pass, though. Intercepted. Smith looking for the lob, and it was picked off. Colomario into the corner and then back outside to Andre. Andre enjoyed himself for a career night, 16 points, the career high against UNLV. Colomario thought about taking the shot, cuts to the rack, that shot's no good. Smith, tightrope walking, gives it right up to Colomario, and it's a quick Bulldogs advantage at 7-up.
Well, you know, you're talking about the Boise State offense, and it really starts with their defense. They got to get stops on this other end of the floor, and their mantra is to turn you over, get some fast break points, and if not, then they're going to get into their half-court execution.
Boise State got beat on Friday night against New Mexico. That game at the pit, they lost that contest in overtime, 81-79, and it wasn't for a lack of theatrics. Smith with the shot clock at 2 has to take an off-balance shot, no good. It'll be a shot clock violation. Tell you what, Boise State on their home court not playing like you'd expect the top-ranked team in the conference to be. Take a look at Justin Hudson. Great career so far. 5th season with Fresno State. 76 victories during his tenure. See the winning percentage. But he's got more damage. He wants to make sure that they leave an imprint here when it's all said and done.
It's amazing. He's been 17 years in the Mountain West Conference. Wow.
Been around the block and then some. Baker goes up. That shot is emphatically rejected by Abo.
Well, I always talk about Abo on the offensive end of the floor, but at 6'7", you could see his athleticism just to be able to chase that ball down. You know, not great defense letting him get down the tunnel, but making that extra effort play to defend the rim.
Baker gave it up. Anthony Holland. Holland didn't play in the last matchup between these two squads. That was last year, 2022 to be exact. And then for January, it's a bad off-balance shot, too, by Holland. And we got back-to-back shot clock violation. But nevertheless, Boise State trying to get off the deck. They're getting shut out right now.
Yeah, and I really like the offense that they're showing in terms of execution. Buckets just aren't falling.
And take a look at Leon Rice. You see his resume, 13 seasons, and he had a lot of things to say earlier during shoot-around.
But he's the dean of this league and coaches, and I'll tell you, for as good a coach he is, he's even a greater guy. I've enjoyed getting to know him these 2 games that I've done.
Abo's shot was rejected by Andre. He's been all over the paint early on, offensively and defensively. So talk about a drought so far. 5 turnovers for Boise State and not a single point. Lucas Milner's checked into the ball game. Hill. Shot clock was at 8. Into the corner. Colomario for 3. That one didn't get the bounce. Rebound, though, offensively by Holland.
Well, I talked about who would impose their will and hit first. Fresno State has come out like a heavyweight boxer. I mean, they're just jabbing, punching. There has been very little resistance from the Boise State defense.
And we get a timeout on the court with 15:35 to play here in the opening half from Boise. Boise State ran out an early hole. Fresno State's taking it to them. It's 7-0 Bulldogs. We're live here from ExtraMile Arena on the campus of Boise State. Broncos and Fresno State Bulldogs. It's all Fresno State early on, Dave. 7-0 right now on the road. And we take a peek at a couple guys that did heavy damage a few days ago against UNLV. Isaiah Hill and Eduardo Andre.
Well, I love Hill. He's smart. He's crafty. He makes this team go. He's really good off ball screens. What he's done tonight extremely well is he's seeing the floor corner to corner. And then for Andre, he's just active. He runs like a gazelle. He wants the ball, and he continues to get better each and every game. You know, the one thing, if you're a sponge for Hudson, you're going, as much as they've struggled with lineups and injuries and all the changes, if you listen to what those coaches have to say, you will improve. It's a developmental program.
3-pointer right out of the timeout. That one's a little bit short. Volley's off the head of Milner. And Rice with the defensive rebound. Here comes Marcus Shaver. So 4 turnovers to start for Boise State. Not a single point. Almost a travel right there by Abo. Here's Tyson Dagenhart. Dagenhart had a career-high 28 points against New Mexico in that loss on Friday night. 81-79 in overtime. Good look near the cylinder from 5 feet out. It's good.
Love the isolation. Got the ball. I call it flip your hips. He's facing the basket. He backs you down like Charles Barkley style. And it was just patient and poised. You saw those patient dribbles, and he got into the paint. What do? You go up and score.
And no surprise so far for Dagenhart. He's the reigning Mountain West Freshman of the Year. Added 10 pounds in the offseason. Points per game were up to 5. So now he's at 14.5. What do you want to see from him in year number 2?
Well, I just love it that he does all the dirty work. And when you say that, that means a guy can't play. He does all the dirty work, and he fills up a stat sheet. He just needs to continue to be inside, outside, and he's a vocal leader on both ends of the floor. You know, you watch him, and you can just see the poise, the patience, the poise, the bump, the grind. He absorbs it. He takes that third dribble, and he goes right under. You know, it's almost a mismatch with the size factor there, but I like the way he plays the game low to high when he's inside.
And Dagenhart, just a sophomore at 6'7" and 242 pounds. Spokane, Washington. Here's Baker.
Fresno State doing a good job getting the ball to all sides of the offense. That's what I want to see Boise State do on the other end as well.
Baker with 8 to go on the shot clock. Thought about the pass, pulls up from 17 feet. Tough break for him off. It's a rebound, the putback. Colomario wanted the foul, but didn't get it, but he scores anyway.
No, and that's a twofold problem. You've got to close out with defensive discipline if you're Abo. You've got to close out a gap distance and not play the angle game. Square up to the defender. He doesn't probably get that shot off. Then they don't have a chance at an offensive putback.
It's a carryover and another turnover for Boise State.
You know, the one thing you can do, and it doesn't take any skill, it's all about effort. You can rebound this basketball. When you see the shot goes up by Jamal, right there, Mario just gets in there, and all good rebounders assume that every shot is a missed shot. That's what makes you tenacious on the glass.
So, I mean, you've been around the block for quite a while. The coaching adjustments that you would make here in this position if you're Leon Rice, is it whole player changes?
No, because you stick with the script. They've got to get down there. First, they need some transition baskets that are generated on this end of the floor, and then they've just got to execute their offense, go inside out.
Andre again!
But most importantly, they have got to have resistance and stop these direct line drives and these penetrations.
The offense not working right now for Boise State. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Back on FS1, Georgetown, DePaul were going at it earlier. Boise State, Fresno State, game number one, the two-game encounter between these two squads. And another turnover. That's 7 turnovers so far in this opening half for Boise State. They only average 11 per game.
Well, to me, they just haven't been able to match the intensity. I mean, you can't match it. You've got to exceed it. But there's just too many dribble drives down the painted area.
Boise State's offense discombobulated, but you got to give a ton of credit to the Bulldogs. They've been active on the defensive end.
Well, they certainly have, and they're creating offense off the Broncos' turnovers. I mean, when you think of Fresno State, they're an opportunistic fast break team. They want to run off turnovers and steals, but they would prefer a slower pace versus Boise. I mean, if you're Fresno State, you're thinking 60 to 65. If you're Boise State, you're thinking 75 to 80 should be the score of this game.
No doubt about it. First free throw by Jordan Campbell's off the mark. Campbell this season a 67% free throw shooter on the campaign. You know, and Dave, this is almost a blueprint of exactly what happened between Fresno State and UNLV a couple days ago. Bulldogs controlled the tempo early on and then rode that wave until the final buzzer.
Well, David, the one thing about this league, you can't play the record. And we heard at the Boise State shoot-around that this is going to be, you know, this isn't a gimme game because of their record. The last 10 games these two teams have played, they're 5-5. They're highly contested. I wouldn't say it's a rivalry, but they're just two teams that are well-coached and really compete.
Dagenhart working against Holland. Size advantage to Dagenhart. Max Rice off balance with the elbow is good. So the offense needs to wake up, and the defense needs to clean up its act as well.
Yeah, well, here's the ingredients for Boise State. Push the pace. You've got to get to the free throw line. You've got to hit some threes, and you've got to have some second chance points. That all takes energy.
Donovan Yap in the contest for Fresno State. There's Campbell off the dribble. Holland. Back to Campbell. Shot clock at 10. The southpaw lets it fly. Side iron, no good. Shaver skies up for the rebound. Back comes Boise State in transition. Sweet hesitation by Shaver, and he scores.
That's what Boise State needs to do. They need to clean up the glass, make it one and done, and push the ball for easy baskets. That may jumpstart the Broncos.
Go to break right now. Under 12 minutes to play in the opening half. Those on FS2. If you want to continue watching this game, move over to FS1. Fresno State with a 5-point lead. More to come on the other side. Now the Leon Rice fan club is here, and so are we, live on FS1 from ExtraMile Arena. Fresno State leading Boise State 11-6 is the score. But Dave, Fresno State's offense, for as good as it's been, Broncos are starting to wake up a little bit.
Well, I like the little two-man game with Rice being able to come off and get to that mid-range spot. But to me, it's all about Shaver. He's one of the best ball handlers on the West Coast. He can create for himself, obviously you saw there. But the one thing that both these point guards have to do, Hill for Fresno, Shaver Jr. for Boise, is they can get 20 in their sleep, but who's going to get others involved? And Isaiah Hill has won that battle so far, getting down the middle on penetration, finding shooters.
Last season, Boise State 27 up, 8 down. They won the Mountain West Conference title, 15-3 in conference play. In a troubling contest against Memphis in the NCAA tournament, that first round action, they got knocked out, losing 64-53.
Little three-quarter court pressure to start. Now they're in their man-to-man.
With some adjustments, Fresno State has gone to their bench. Likewise, the Broncos have done the same. Yap with 3 to go in the shot clock, finally sees it, lets it fly. It's a bad miss. Never had a shot at it. The sequence right there, Dave, out of the timeout, a little alarming.
Well, it was, but that was due to Boise State. There was a little bit of pep in their step. They were defending the ball. You know, your job as a defender, especially when you've got ball screen offense and you've got guys like Fresno State that want to get downhill, you've got to get over the screens because there's good shooters in this game. So you got to make yourself skinny, get over the top, and allow no penetration off that dribble drive.
Here's Max Rice. Max scored 17 points in that loss to New Mexico. Shaver underneath scoop to Smith. Batted away. Back comes Hill in transition.
Like the thought, but that should have been a one-hand bounce pass.
Baker wanted that. Lined it up. Thought it was good, but it was just a bit too strong. Rice again. Max to Smith.
Good drag screen. Let's see what Najee can do on the dribble drive getting inside.
It's a patient move right there. Try to go up and under, but off the mark. Andre, a defensive rebound.
Well, Najee Smith, I sort of call him the master of unplanned production. You don't have to call plays for him. And the game has slowed down between his ears. He's gotten much better this year.
Ooh, I thought about an alley-oop to Andre, but somehow Isaiah Hill found the mark.
Boise has struggled offensively to start this game, but the defense hasn't been much better. This is an elite defensive team. They're like 9th in the country by KenPom. They've got to clean it up on the other end.
So what's wrong defensively?
Well, there's just too much dribble penetration. You got to stay between your man and the basket. It starts right here. You got to pick up. You can't reach. I like that Rice was there, but I call that a silly foul. I don't need him to pick his pocket. I need him to level him off and buy time for his teammates to get back, get turned.
And Fresno State 6 of 17 from the field so far, but they've been aided by the extra possessions. As you see Hill, it's a beautiful shot in the lane.
It was, but to me that was lackadaisical defense. Defense has to be proactive, and right there you saw Boise State being reactive to the offensive flow.
You know, Boise State can't get even their transition defense, or at least half-court setup, giving the ball away 9 times. Whitaker off the mark, a bit too strong. Abo skies up for the rebound.
They've had bits and pieces, but it's got to become a habit. Clear the glass, stop that dribble penetration, and get you some fast break points.
Hill with the foul, a little reach in there. His first team foul. But 9 turnovers so far for Boise State. Shaver here on the inbound. Catch and shoot release from Abo off the mark. Defensive rebound. Back comes Fresno State and Baker.
Holland, big time block out on that backside.
The energy level in the building right now is at a mundane tone.
But that's what any team wants to do on the road. They came and started 11-2. You take that crowd out, and you should never let them get back into this thing if you're Fresno State.
Shaver trying to draw some body contact with a whistle. One came, the whistle did not though. Back iron, no good. Boise State right now just 3 of 10 shooting from the field so far in this contest.
Well, right here, I see one guy in a defensive stance for the Broncos. It was Max Rice. You got to be down in that invisible chair there he called him for a double dribble. Wow. But listen, there's no tricks to defense if you're at Boise State. You know, they're usually always in the right position. That hasn't been the case. Most of the guys have not been in a stance. I'm not seeing them point and talk, and they're certainly not keeping their man in front. There's no bells and whistles. It's just simple man-to-man principles. You see right here, on the ball, it gets passed in. It's easy call for the zebra.
Yeah, I have to ask because we're only 11 minutes into this contest. Do you think there's any kind of hangover from the tough loss against New Mexico?
No, I really don't. I just think that Fresno State came in here and they just started punching, and Boise State hasn't been able to punch back. They've had a couple good possessions, but right now, Fresno State has monopolized this game on both ends of the floor.
Yeah, they have dictated and they have dominated early on, including this man right here, Eduardo Andre. Back to Hill, looking for another alley-oop. It's all going to be counting the same anyway, though, as Andre was left in a vulnerable position but recollected himself, and now it's a 9-point lead for Fresno State.
The one thing I'm noticing about Fresno State, they are making hard cuts in that half-court offense.
Playing with and without the basketball. Smith, patient.
Love that. The post defense was not good right there. You can't give an offensive player an angle. You have to stay between him and the basket on that end of the floor, wall him up, make him shoot over you. That wasn't the case down there.
Andre again. 3 for 4 from the field so far and a quick 6 points. Keep in mind, he's only making his 3rd start of the season for Justin Hudson. Against Dagenhart, slight size advantage of about 4 inches. Left-handed hook shot well off the mark.
Textbook defense by Dagenhart. Beautiful.
Rice, ball fake, lets it fly, and he hits it. Well, badly needed for Boise State. First 3 of the ball game, and more importantly, the fans are finally engaged.
Well, it's uncanny what Max Rice has been doing inside the 3, and then when you need a timely 3, he cuts it to 4. You know, last year he struggled and became a ball mover. This year, he's a shot maker.
There's Baker. Trying to spoil this night for Boise State. Straight on, 3 on the way. That one lips in and out, no good for him. Back comes Boise State.
I don't know about you, David, but I feel a little bit of change of momentum just creeping up for Boise State right now.
Dagenhart pulled the trigger, well off the mark. Baker with a defensive rebound. It's one thing that Boise State has not done so far in this contest, 2nd and 3rd chance opportunities.
And that's part of their offense. I see a little bit more urgency and a little bit more intensity in this half-court defense.
Holland was cutting. Nice pass again. Andre goes up, goes off of his thigh, it looked like. And that's a rare turnover tonight for Fresno State. Just their 3rd one of the contest. Immediate timeout on the court. Under 7 minutes to play this opening half. It is all Fresno State, but Boise State trying to wake up a little bit, and so is Max Rice. Courtside with the coach, Dave Miller. I'm David Gascon. Thanks for hanging out with us here in Boise, Idaho. And Dave, if you are Leon Rice right now, what are you saying?
Well, the first thing I'm telling them is that we need to push the pace. They only have 5 transition points. No go, then they've got to get to their playbook. I want to see them run more action. Don't settle. Get to the 2nd and the 3rd side of their plays, and then play for each other. Somebody's got to get out there and start to play make. I mean, you would think it would be Shavers, but somebody else has got to put the ball on the floor, draw multiple defenders, and then kick out. You know, they didn't shoot the ball well in Albuquerque, so I thought they were going to be due for some buckets right on the onset of this game.
Fresno State picking up a little bit of full court pressure. They were the stingiest defense last year in the Mountain West Conference. They surrendered just 59 points a game a season ago.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. I mentioned earlier on with Hudson coaching at San Diego State with Steve Fisher and Brian Dutcher. I mean, he was their defensive coordinator. So one thing you know about a Fresno State team, they're going to defend, and they've got that toughness, and they pride themselves on that.
Now, the energy level has been fantastic for Fresno State. So even if they don't shoot the rock well, their defense will travel.
Well, and sometimes if your offense isn't good, then just call it chuck and chase. Get it up on the glass and attack the offensive glass for some easy putbacks.
Hill trying to manipulate the defense. Got a couple bounces to fall.
It's just been the individual defense of Boise State. They have not been able to guard the ball.
Chase Whiting into the contest for the first time tonight. Local product from Burley, Idaho. Rice to Whiting. Abo pulls up from about 18 feet. Front iron, back iron, stays out.
Have you noticed down there on that end, Boise State's shots are being further from the baskets. They're not getting downhill and into the lane for finishes or kicks.
And with a little bit of separation, didn't get the shooter's touch on that one. Abo with the defensive rebound, and back comes Boise State. Trying to work the glass, leading to some offense. But it has not been easy as Smith goes up, but Andre hacked him across the arm. A couple free throws heading his way.
And really poor spacing inside in terms of getting the ball down there. You know, if you're Najee Smith, you're not going to the left, and he eventually spun back to the right. But I want to rip through and go one dribble to my right, look for a finish or a kick.
Coming up, this American Cancer Society Coaches versus Cancer Suits and Sneakers Week. This year specifically, we're all asking fans to help set the screen by making sure they and their loved ones have the most up-to-date information on the recommended cancer screenings and which tests are right for them. To learn more about Coaches versus Cancer and setting the screen to save lives from cancer, visit coaches.com, cancer.org. Those kicks on Coach Justin Hudson. Got the nice little threads on tonight, like yourself.
I know you're a sneakerhead.
Colomario directing some traffic.
I like Whiting coming in there, looking to try and get the ball into Baker, maybe for a mismatch. Look at Baker trying to seal Whiting meeting expectations to not let him get the ball.
Shot clock is at 6 for Hill. It was a bit extended. Both feet were on the line. It's going to be a long two-pointer, but all counts the same. It's a 6-point lead with Fresno State. They've controlled the early onset.
Well, I've really seen a difference in Hill. You know, last year he had Orlando Robinson, so he was pick and roll eccentric. This year he's been relied more upon to score, and he's doing a great job of it.
There's Whiting. Could have given it back to Smith. There's a mismatch down the block. Let's see if they identify it. There's Smith against a much smaller Hill. Falls away from the double team. Colomero with the defensive rebound.
Great recognition eventually, but he didn't have the angle. You got to have an angle, 45 degree. That one's got to kiss off the glass for an easy deuce.
Boise State in a drought. They have not scored in their last 4 minutes. Colomero passes behind him. That feed from Baker. Dagan Hart all the way to the cup, but he scores.
Well, if you're Boise State, as bad as you have played on the defensive and the offensive end, to have this game with less than 4 minutes to go, a 4-point differential, you've got to feel pretty good. Now you just have to change the tide.
A lot of things have gone against Boise State tonight, and that's a credit to Fresno State, and that's a travel and a turnover by Baker. 5th turnover this contest for Fresno State. But they had the advantage in Boise State trying to climb themselves out of rut. Under 4 minutes to play this opening half. Bulldogs by 4. Fresno State leading Boise State right now. 19-15 is the score. 3:48 to play this opening half. All these two teams playing right now. A couple of them played last night as we take a peek at the Mountain West Conference standings in real time. And so, Dave, I know the Aztecs sitting at 1-1. But you have Nevada, Boise State, Utah State. I know you like a few things about the Wolfpack, though.
Well, I tell you, I've really not have seen a cohesive group in Nevada as those guys. They're connected. I've seen more talented groups, but they're winning with togetherness. Blackshear's playmaking, Lucas makes big shots, and Baker plays big.
Yeah, Baker was a monster last night. That 97-94 victory against 25th-ranked New Mexico. Baker poured in 28 points in the night. And talk about efficiency, he was 12 of 17 from the field.
Well, you got to credit the guards for getting him the basketball, feeding the hot hand, and that goes hand in hand with the togetherness and the cohesiveness that Steve Alford has generated.
It is a custom, though, especially the last 5-6 years of the top-tier teams in the Mountain West Conference getting knocked off by the middle of the road. Rice with a nice ball fake for 3.
Well, I'll tell you, I love the pass out, but then Max Rice, a double positive, the shot fake to be able to get the defense to take it and to just rise up, catch, lock, loaded, and hear net noise. Beautiful shot off that skip pass.
It's the closest that Boise State has been all night long. Campbell around his back. You see a trip on Colomero? It's exactly the case. Colomero's looking at anyone that'll listen to him. Who, me? Yeah, you. So Colomero with a rare tripping foul. It's a 13 foul for Fresno State.
We'll take a look at this and we'll see what happens here right in front of us. And, you know, I can see where Leo was thinking I didn't do it, but it was a foul. He tripped off, but it wasn't intentional like he stood, you know, put his leg out.
Abo, long range, got it.
I love when he goes up for a jump shot. I wish he was shooting more jump shots if I was Leon Rice, but he's just got that high shooting pocket. He gets it off, and, you know, he's really a guy that they can't allow to heat up from the perimeter. He caught fire early in conference play from deep.
Holland trying to attack that shot, partially deflected on the way up, but he was fouled in the process of shooting, and looks to be against Smith. As we go back and look, though, Boise State up by 2. And Shabazz Abo gives the Broncos their first lead of the night.
Well, I like the way he just takes that 2-dribble escape. He gets a little rhythm dribble there at the free throw line to go up. But, you know, this kid really impresses me, Holland. He just looks like a football player. He can play the 3 or the 4, but it took me about 3 minutes at shoot around to figure out that he's a winner. You know, he played today, no ego. You watch him, he plays tremendously hard, and a really good offensive rebounder in the games I've watched.
Had a troubling night a couple days ago against UNLV. Even in that victory, he scored all of 1 point, but he only took a couple shots in 29 minutes.
But I'll tell you, in that game, what he did well, he keeps the ball moving. You know, he doesn't press for it. A lot of guys think they're going to shoot their way out of it. Winners say, hey, it's not my night. What can I do different other than score baskets to help my team win?
Hey, wait a minute. I know that a certain friend of yours, Kobe Bryant, shot himself out of some slumps. You know him quite well.
Okay, that's one in about 5 billion.
So does that mean I got to go deeper in the resume? Steph Curry, Damian Lillard, Ja Morant.
Yeah, and when you know, there's a prerequisite to that. When you're making over $25 million a year,
right.
Okay, you know, you can do what you want.
Circle
right?
gets the square. Point taken, Coach.
I know kids look at me crazy all the time at my summer camps when I talk about sharing the wealth, passing the ball. They're like, well, you covered Kobe for so long. What do you think about Kobe? And I say, next question.
No doubt about it. There's Isaiah Hill. Milner's back on the court for Boise State. There's Baker and Anthony Holland.
Remember a couple of minutes ago, I told you I felt a change of momentum.
Yeah,
it was just a different feel to this game.
Shot clock at 4 for Hill. Lost the handle on it. Andre thought about collecting it, but it goes off with Degenhardt, and it stays with Fresno State. The shot clock reads at 2.
The Boise State defense has gotten into better position. They're into gaps right now, and Fresno State is not being able to get freely downhill against this team like they did to start the game.
It'll be a quick catch and shoot. Baker from the corner. Thinking the top of the backboard. So it's a shot clock violation. The other element to all this, too, is that Boise State has not given away the extra possessions. They have 11 turnovers in this first half, but we haven't seen any in the last 3 or 4 minutes.
Well, that's good news. The bad news is they should have 11 turnovers for the game, right?
Yeah.
My Mendoza line is 12 and under. I can't figure out the lack of concentration that they had to start this contest.
Degenhardt been a little quiet so far. He's got 4 points, but he demands a double team. Rice, who's got a couple of threes, who had some errant pass. And you just said, was it a broadcaster's
always.
Right
and you know what? The first mistake I saw Max Rice make, when that ball came out to him from the double, he should have made one more pass. And Abo was in that deep right corner. And it looked to me, I was a little obscured with my vision, but it looked like he had his feet set and his hands ready. That extra pass would have been the play down there.
We'll see how Fresno State closes out this first half. They were strong for the majority of the first 20 minutes. Hill pulls up baseline is nice.
Or that's a pro move for him to be able to come off that and to gather himself and just rise up and knock it down.
He wanted to foul with it, did not, but poked away it nicely by Holland. Here's Hill again. Hill with a lob for Campbell. He puts it in gingerly off window with his left hand.
You've got to take care of the basketball, whether it's in transition or full court. This Fresno State team, they like to rake the ball. They have active hands. Another turnover back to back.
Campbell trying to force it. He does. 6-0 run. 3 consecutive turnovers by Boise State. Turned into points by the Bulldogs. They're jumping on their feet on their bench right now.
Those are just inexcusable errors that you're making after you climbed all the way up to go up 2 and to get back down 4, and possibly more going into the halftime.
All right, so we talked earlier about what Leon Rice was saying to Boise State, but for Justin Hudson, what's kind of the message right now that he's telling these guys?
Well, he wants to say, let's stay with the defense. There's a great tip from behind. What do? You generate offense off your defense, and it is a nice little give it up, and Campbell easy to score. And then again, just an errant pass, a telegraph. Campbell puts it on the floor. He's a downhill driver, a lefty, so you got to know that he's bringing it to the rack. Nice little Euro step to avoid the defense. And you know what? That's the type of play you have to have on the road when you go into a hostile environment. This crowd has not been able to get excited but a couple minutes.
Oh, it's the 5th turnover in the last 2 minutes. Hill for 3. That one rims in and out. Tough break for him. Shot clock is off, so Boise State, assuming they don't turn over the basketball, will hold for the final shot. Milner, Rice, Shaver, Degenhardt, and Abo are out there for Boise State. Shaver with 5 to go. Shaver with 3 to go. A fall away is pure.
just absorbed the contact. He willed that shot knowing his team needed a deuce going in at the half.
5 turnovers in the last 2 minutes and 45 seconds for Boise State. They were up and now trail. 20 minutes in the books here from ExtraMile Arena. And the Fresno State Bulldogs right now controlling the tempo, the pace, and they have the lead at the break, 25-23. We'll be back. At the break right now inside ExtraMile Arena, Fresno State leading Boise State by a count of 25-23. First encounter between these two squads, and with the coach Dave Miller, I'm David Gascon. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Dave, I don't know, I'm looking at a handful of things, but the first thing that pops up to me is the 15 turnovers by Boise State. Bulldogs earned that first half outcome.
Well, that's the only thing you would look at if you were a coach when you go into that locker room. The 15 turnovers, that produced 16 of their total 25 points on the board just by the miscues of the Broncos.
Well, the two guys that we highlight at the top of the show have delivered for Fresno State. How have they done it?
Well, they just got out and they generated a lot of that offense through their defense. When you think of Hill, he's crafty, he's skilled, he gets down the tunnel, and he's got an array of shots. His floater is one of the best in the Big West. He controls his body. He comes off the pick and roll. He's able to read the defense, and there is just a little step back. And then when you have Andre, he's one of the best bigs that is blossoming right between our eyes. Runs like a gazelle, gets down the lane. He's a rim runner. He's a paint catcher, and he finishes with his length. And I like right there, his hands seem to get better. I watch him catch the ball with his eyes and finish at the rim. Fresno State hit first. Can they do it for another 20 minutes? We'll find out in Boise tonight.
Back inside ExtraMile Arena. Second half is about to get underway. We take a look at the first half stats with Dave Miller. Dave, I guess what's the perfect concoction for Fresno State if they want to duplicate the feat in the opening 20 minutes?
Well, they've got to rev up the defense. They've got to have active hands. You saw that on the tip from behind. They've got to have live feet, and they've got to get deflections and steals for easy baskets.
And for Boise State, a lot of it's just cleaning up their act, right?
Well, yeah, it's simple. You got to take care of the basketball. Then they've got to push the pace. I'd like to see more easy baskets. No go, execute in the half court. They've got to make Fresno State guard them. They've only gone to the free throw line 2 times. Now they're 2 for 2, but that's not enough at home. Free throws are part of their equation of winning games.
Yeah, Fresno State, for all that they have not done offensively this year, first shot out of the break, Baker pulls the trigger off the mark, tapped out of bounds, and it'll go to Boise State. Fresno State came into this ball game only averaging 61 points a game on the year, and defensively they've been surrendering out 63. Well, Boise State averaging, conversely, 73 a game. They're well off that mark.
It's all about attack mode. Who hit first, who attacked first, and in that first half, it was advantage Fresno.
First possession of the second half, Shaver misses it. An offensive rebound by Smith. A kick out, and more to the same tune of the opening half. Another turnover. That's now 16 and counting. That's their highest turnover total all season long.
Yeah, I mean, I like the dribble drive by Max Rice, and only he knows he wasn't probably in a position to get that up with some English off the glass, and just an ill-advised pass. He was up in the air. There was nothing else he could do with it.
Troubling for Boise State. But again, they're only down by 2. Hill left to Lopin for 3. I don't know why he didn't take that shot, but now it's going to be much challenger. 3 to go, 2 to go. Into the corner, no, that'll be on the sideline. It'll be a turnover. Colomario had the heel on it, so I mean, Hill had the right idea, just didn't let it fly.
Yeah, but I liked it. He wasn't balanced, and that's why he didn't take that shot. So he gave it back to the corner. That's not the problem. The problem for Boise State is when he put it on the floor and he went from left to middle to get the ball to the corner, and they just got lucky that Fresno State stepped out of bounds. That was part of the problem in the first half, is getting down the lane, kicking the shooters.
Smith nowhere to go with it, not even electing to take a shot. Everyone in the building wanted him to. Here's Shaver. Dagenhart trying to set up a screen with 5 to go, 4 to go.
There's just a physicality of this defense right now.
A hurried shot, and Shaver bailed out the offense. Boise State this season, sub 500 when they trail at the end of the first half, 2-3 in the campaign. But right now they're tied. There's Hill looking to operate on 8 points in the opening half. Baker with 3. But he was limited in the first half. 1 of 8 from outside. Hill lets it rip for 3. Shots no good. Nice rebound by Abba.
Great series by Degenhardt, not just coming up on that action, but talking it through it, that entire possession.
Rice to Smith. Slight hesitation, trying to attack Andre, who says no way.
That was length versus length.
Hill in transition to Baker, wide open. No good. One tapped out near half court. Andre again left alone. Hill not take that shot. Obligation. Mario pulls the trigger. That one's off the mark. So the opening half did not provide much fruit from the tree for Fresno State from beyond the arc. And now in the second half, it's more of the same. They're 1 of 16 from downtown.
Well, I'm not good at math, but I know in the half they were shooting 8%. I don't know how many more I would shoot.
Shaver tries his luck. Andre collects it on the defensive end with that rebound.
I mean, this is a team that has struggled at times throughout the season just to generate offense.
Yeah, they're shooting under 30% this season. Fresno State is from beyond the arc. Tonight's not going to help their figures. 6% from distance. As Shaver picks up the foul, it's his first. So in a ugly game, if you will, like this, who does it favor, Fresno State or Boise State?
Well, the ugliness favors Fresno State. They want to make this a low possession, just grind it out game. Boise State wants to get up and down the floor, but their defense has not been elite this evening. You know, at least they got a second half to try and figure it out.
Circus shot by Andre Milner caused some havoc. Andre's on the deck, but he's going to be called for a travel.
So here's a great example, though, for Boise State. You had one red jersey on the floor, Andre, and then you had a bunch of white jerseys just bending over.
Yeah.
That's not characteristic of what I've seen in the past from Boise State. And if you're going to win, you can't just reach down. When, you know, he tries to split 2 defenders, it's a live ball, and now the ball's on the floor. I want to see more guys jump up. That's got to be like 24-karat gold.
All right, fair enough. So plenty of time to go in this contest. Bounce pass from Milner to Degenhardt. Double team comes. That was alert, though, by Andre, but a whistle and a foul.
What I liked about offensively, they couldn't get the direct post feed, so they made the extra pass to the top and bounce it in. We always tell offensive players that are getting fronted, don't fight the pressure, just point and reverse the ball and get it in on one extra pass. Good execution and obviously a mismatch in size. Size-wise, I don't know about strength-wise, but height.
Here's Zabo on the inbound. Boise State 42% from the field in this contest, but 16 turnovers. That shot right through Twine from Abba. Second lead of the contest for Boise State, 27-25.
Well, you have to have an awareness, a 6'7" wing that can heat up and get a little bit of rhythm. That brought the crowd up on their feet a little bit. Let's see if they can generate more noise and enthusiasm on the defensive end of the floor.
Campbell, nice little bit of a delay. The southpaw goes up. Shot won't fall, but 2 free throws heading his way. You know, for Abo, he scored 5 points so far tonight. That equates to what he did against New Mexico on Friday. But nevertheless, Boise State trying to hold on for dear life. Plenty of time to go in this contest. Under 16 to play in regulation. Abo giving the Broncos a 2-point advantage. Dogfight so far, 15:58 to play in regulation. Boise State 27-25 over Fresno State with Dave Miller and David Gascon. And Coach, we look at a lot of things: numbers, statistics, storylines, wins and losses. The tail of the tape, net rankings so far, Boise State amongst the Mountain West Conference is the best so far.
Well, I like Boise State. Their defense tonight has not been elite, but it has been throughout. They've got good quad 1 and 2 victories. I like it that they can play at 2 speeds. San Diego State, they'll defend, they'll rebound. Very athletic. I thought they played as good a non-conference schedule as anybody in the country. New Mexico, 14-0 start.
Yeah.
I mean, not much more to say there. Plus, they won at St. Mary's. They beat USF, I think, on a neutral site, and they beat Oral Roberts. And, you know, Nevada, they beat Utah State by 20 the other night. Their only loss, I think, in the Mountain West is San Diego State. So I think they got the right teams.
Got the wrong combination there as that pass from Rice off the mark. Too tall for Abo. 17 turnovers now, and 6 of them by Max Rice. You mentioned the resume, too, for Boise State. 3 wins over Power 5 programs this season. First time ever in Boise State history. They beat Washington State, Colorado, and they smacked Texas A&M, winning that game by 15. Rice on the takeaway. I think the sentiment, though, around the Mountain West Conference, especially the fans, too, Dave, is that, yeah, we want 4 or 5 teams in the big dance, but we got to get some victories, too.
Well, that's the way you get into it. I mean, last year they got 4, and I think the league is better this year, so I'm hoping they get 4.
Shaver trying to create foul underneath.
You know, we talk about teams that have surprised us. New Mexico surprised me. They get the 2 big transfers, and, you know, they fit in really good with House and Mashburn. San Jose State, Coach Tim Miles has done a great job. But Boise State, even though they're the defending champs in regular season and postseason, they lost some big-time players. You know, so, yeah, they're picked and they're well coached. But, you know, this is a team that, you know, only 3 teams ever have won both. The regular season, the postseason. They get that automatic bid last year. They lost to Memphis, I think, a 9th seed in the first round. But, you know, they've surprised me a little bit that they've come out defensively so good. And, again, I preface that by not this evening, but by their whole book of work.
Body of work is so important, especially once you get into conference play. Boise State this season 8-4 against Quad 1 and Quad 2 teams. 15-5 overall. Fresno State at 7-11. Baker, slight hesitation in the key, nothing but net.
That's a problem. Dribble penetration from the right side. We tell players, pin them to the sideline, make them dribble parallel to the lane line. Fresno State still getting their will to get inside.
Nice feed underneath to Milner from Rice and a push-off underneath. See, troubling part, though, with Boise State's defense, and they're ranked 22nd in the nation in scoring defense, but Baker made it look way too easy.
Well, again, it's just when you're defending, it's easier for you to move your feet than to have the guy that's dribbling the ball move his feet, because he's dribbling, and they're just not proactive. They're not beating the dribblers to the spots and staying between them and the basket.
That shot's an air ball. Goes off a couple fingertips, and it'll stay with Boise State. Shot clock is at 17. Baker right now, just 5 points, 2 of 10 from the field, and 1 of 7 from downtown. Overall this season, he's only a 38% shooter, and obviously showing his colors here tonight. Shaver to Rice into the key.
Well executed play, pass on time, on target, and that's what Rice does. He's been uncanny from inside the 3, and he's playing with a herniated or a bulging disc. It's amazing. At shoot around, he'd take a couple reps, have to lay down and get back up. That's when you have toughness. I mean, I have a herniated disc and can barely sit here with you without pain, and he's out there getting up and down the floor for his dad.
I thought it was from my talking.
That's a migraine.
Here's Shaver with a fall away. That one from about 12 feet, no good. Barely grazed iron. Here's Hill. Mario cleans that thing up, so it's a 2-point lead for Boise State.
He shines. An undersized 4-man, a rim runner, plays hard to drive it.
Nice home run pass to Degenhart. His team's now trading some paint. Degenhart was 6. Keep in mind, this is off the 20-point performance against New Mexico. Yap was all over the place. Some nice English, and he scores.
He wants to play like Hill, you know, sort of an understudy. They're going to put him in ball screens, dribble drives. He's going to get to the rim, absorb some contact, extend it out. Easy finish for the junior from Las Vegas.
Here's Smith. Working against Colomario. Size and weight advantage. He backs him down, uses window.
Well, that's just Najee Smith being a man. We call that bully ball. I mean, he had his mind made up what he was going to do. Double never came, and he just went to work one-on-one. Great angle to be able to knock down that shot off the glass.
Boise State in this half shooting 50% from the field. Hahn lost the handle, collect it, goes up. Shot won't go. Free throws heading his way.
Like the initial ball defense being between him and the basket. But right now you can see Yap puts the ball, crosses over. lowers that shoulder, absorbs the contact, and he gets it off the glass. And now you got Smith. He just says, let me flip my hip. Let me go Charles Barkley. He gets inside, and it's an easy bank shot for an easy deuce.
The good old days of Sir Charles. In Philadelphia or Phoenix?
Philadelphia, that was my favorite team growing up in Allentown, Pennsylvania. You know, I always loved Dr. J and Daryl Dawkins, you know, rest in peace, Chocolate Thunder, and Henry Bibby, who I once worked for. That was my favorite team growing up.
I was hoping you were going to go to the 93 Phoenix Suns. They got beat by Jordan's Bulls in 6 games. A shot good by Holland. Fresno State now 1 of 6 from the free throw line. Boise State 4 of 4. Nice bounce pass underneath to Degenhart. He can't complete it. Andre fouled him, but that was a wonderful feed from Shaver.
Well, you said nice. I'm going to say unbelievable. I mean, you might be a hard grader if you were a college professor. I've been on the bench in the NBA, and I haven't seen a pass as good as that. Watch him there. He just turns a corner, a hesitation. You talk about precision, on time, on target, and then Degenhart just able to pump fake, get him up, and play through the contact.
So for Andre now, the big man's got 3 fouls. He's the only player really on either end that's in foul trouble.
Well, when you look down that bench, you know, who do you put in? You know, they've got to go small ball if that's the case and rearrange some undersized 4s and 5s.
You see the advantage right now for Boise State. It's at 5. That's their largest lead of the night, 37-32. Been that kind of a contest for the Broncos at home.
David, it's been a rock fight. I mean, you talk about guys just slugging it out.
Well said.
And I'm not talking about pebbles. Yeah. I'm talking about bricks.
Well, that looked like it going off the foot of Yap. Officials say that's exactly the case.
That's the defense I've been accustomed to seeing. Again, you know, Boise State isn't going to come out and pressure you and take it from you. They're just in the right position. They're 5 guys connected on a string. They're in the gaps, and then they go. There just haven't been enough consistent effort defensively to get multiple stops. One of these teams are going to get separation by stops on the defensive end.
Shaver got some, but that one tips in and then comes out. There's Campbell. The senior averaging about 6.5 points per game on the year. Appearing in all 19 games. Andre hasn't looked for his shot here in the second half. Was extremely active offensively in the opening half. 3-pointer by Campbell. Off the mark.
Great job by Shaver not allowing Hill to get the basketball, whether it was on cuts or coming up top to play make.
A narrow advantage on the glass for Boise State. They're +2 in that category. The best in the Mountain West Conference, and our average margin of 5.5. It's an offensive foul against Najee Smith. Smith didn't like the call. It's his second personal foul. As we get a immediate timeout on the court. 11:14 to play here in this contest. Fresno State not going to go away quietly, are they? They're down by 5. Disclosure, I know this is near and dear to your heart because, Dave, your daughter, a sportscaster, Arizona State, very proud. Does a lot of sideline work, basketball, football. She's involved in everything.
Well, she has. She just started covering the Phoenix Suns on the beat down there. But there's so many talented young ladies in this profession. And I always said this with women's basketball. There should be more women coaches because young ladies need role models. And that's a heck of a crew they've got slated for that game.
Yeah, that should be a ton of fun on February 1st. Here's Baker out of the timeout. Lob for Andre. Andre got some space. And they're going to call a foul underneath. I think he got away with a little bit of a forearm shiver into the back of Abo.
Yeah, he did. And I think Vern Harris saw, you know, the contact on the arm. So it was an easy call. But again, trying to go inside for a high percentage shot.
Fresno State 1 of 18 from downtown, so they're trying to work underneath to Andre again, and back-to-back fouls. So when in doubt, feed the big man.
Yeah, well, you know, the one thing that I mentioned earlier on in the first half is that Fresno State, they cut hard. You know, I always watch bigs in particular when they go out to set a high on-ball screen, a 1-5 or a 1-4. Yeah. Do they sprint to screen? With guards and wing players, I always want to see hard cuts because sometimes, most of the time, you don't receive the ball, but a hard cut will make a multiple defender be attracted to you, and maybe you get a teammate an open shot or you get a teammate an open drive on the pass. So I really like the way they go about their half-court offense.
Fouls on Max Rice. That second free throw off the mark by Andre. So for as good as Fresno State has been defensively, actively offensively, free throw shooting has been pedestrian at 2 of 8 from the charity stripe. They came into this contest right around 75%, but they're well off that mark.
Well, I don't think either team has got, you know, to the free throw line enough. I mean, Boise State 6 for 6. They're at home, and I mentioned that's part of the ingredients. What I like about Boise State on this end, they only have 3 turnovers, and they'll probably get one because you're sitting here with the jinx. But they've taken care of the ball so far in this second half.
Rice with the air ball there. Kobe Young's in the contest for Boise State. 17th appearance of the season, but first minutes here in the second half. A whistle and a foul underneath. A foul's going to be against Abo.
Well, Kobe Young is a redshirt freshman, a really good athlete when you watch him practice, and he's got a chance to become an elite defender in this league. He should be a defensive stopper as he continues to grow and mature on that end of the floor.
That's a lot of praise, though, for a youngster like that.
Yeah, well, you know, it all starts with the mentality. It all starts with being coachable, and you know, when the coaches talked at the shoot-around, his eyes never left theirs. That's how I can tell if you're in tune and you're focused to get better.
Hill attacking the cup. Front iron. Shaver with the defensive rebound. Shaver now with 3 boards to complement his 8 points. Max Rice leads the team in scoring with 10. He's the only player right now in double-digit scoring on either side. Degenhart lines it up for 3.
You knew on the pass that was going in. You look at Degenhart's feet, they were set, and then just the rotation and the spiral off that ball. Perfect pass, perfect shot.
Feels like that's the first easy look from downtown for either side tonight. And Degenhart now up to 11. He's 4 of 5 from the field so far in this contest. Baker trying to counter, back iron. Rice, Campbell collide. Second chance opportunity. Andre can't get it to drop. Young with the defensive rebound. Back comes Shaver and company.
A little bit more energy offensively, and the ball is moving a little bit more crisper for Boise State.
Degenhart back to back. No.
You remember what I told you, the number. What number did I tell you that Boise State wanted to have in terms of points scored?
75 to 80, right?
Yeah, and right now the pace still favors Fresno State. They want a low-scoring game, low-possession game. You just see they haven't been able to generate, you know, the up and down and the fluidity that they have offensively.
All about getting the stop. Shaver scoring it.
And on call, as I say, they're not doing it. What do? They had a nice little dribble drive and finish.
This game is all about runs.
Shaver's one of the best point guards on the West Coast with that ball in his hand.
Campbell into the corner outside to Baker. Jamal been a little quiet so far. Campbell looking for a screen from Andre. 8 to go on the shot clock. 6. Down low to the big. Nice swipe away by Young. Goes right to Abo. No numbers. 1 on 3. Rice. 18 turnovers for Boise State. And 14 now for Fresno State. Shaver working patiently against Andre. And Andre forced that move and missed badly with Shaver there. Hill dances between defenders. Corner 3 on the way by Baker. That one's well off the mark. 1 of 20 from long range is Fresno State. 1 of 20. A few of them have been contested, make no mistake about it, but there have been other occasions where Bulldogs are left wide open. Degenhart attacks the big man. That's courageous.
Courageous, and like I said, a little bit of bully in that game, but he was determined. He read the defender's foot. He saw that he had an angle to the basket. He just put it on the floor, able to go up and score it.
Degenhart near his average right now, averaging just about 14 points a game on the season. Shaver and Degenhart leading the charge as the leaders do often. And right now, Boise State up by 9. We're all dancing a little bit inside ExtraMile Arena with the coach Dave Miller. I'm David Gascon. Thanks for joining us on a Tuesday night in Boise, Idaho. Broncos by 9 over Fresno State, 44-35. As we look at the Mountain West Conference standings right now, top to bottom, Wyoming has been in trouble all season long because of some significant injuries. San Diego State, though, followed by Nevada, Boise State. Broncos get Colorado State here next on the 28th. Fresno State returns home against the Aggies of Utah State on the 28th.
That'll be a great test with Colorado State. Isaiah Stevens, another premier guard in this league, and he doesn't turn it over. And then when you look at Fresno, Utah State, I mean, they just shoot it at a high level, so they're going to knock down threes. Fresno is going to have to get back and run to the three-point line and be able to shade that. Really two good matchups. You really never get a night off in this league. I'm amazed at the level of players, the excellent coaches, and the venues, how they fill this league up.
Hill with a blow-by against Shaver underneath and a weak side pass to Colomario.
Defensive discipline. We've talked about it from the very start of this game. Not letting the ball handler get by you because bad things happen.
Saw Degenhart grabbing some water and a breather. Abo lines it up for 3. Nope. There's Hill with a rebound. So with Degenhart on the bench, where does the offense for Boise State come?
Well, you want to start with Shaver. I mean, let him be your playmaker. You got Abo on the perimeter, and you can go to Milner or Najee Smith inside. Kobe Young, you know, he's a redshirt freshman. Like Kobe used to say, tell Pau Gasol, I eat first, you eat second.
Shot blocked by Colomario. Nicely done against Shaver. Here comes Hill in transition. Hill. And that's going to be a blocking foul to the dismay of about 10,000 plus inside the building.
Well, I'm guessing it. We'll have to see a replay, but it looked as though his feet were in the restricted circle that you could see. So we'll be able to take a look. I couldn't see from here, but we'll come back. We'll take a break. That call does not have the Boise State fans excited.
Boise State 44, Fresno State 37. Haven't introduced Vern Harris, Eric Curley, or Michael Greenstein tonight, but might as well. Those are the 3 officials tonight. And Dave, you don't like this call.
No, I don't. And you didn't have to give their names and put them on blast, but it wasn't even close. From the angle we're at, I couldn't see the line, and I thought they were right on top of it, but clearly a missed call.
Listen, you treat officials like you would offensive linemen. You don't want to hear about them or see them, and I think they've called a great game here tonight.
Well, no, that's the best way as a coach and as a player. If they're out there and they're invisible and you don't notice them, you know that they're doing a good night work, and they have. That's just, hey, we all make mistakes.
Sure.
The problem is there's replay, and we've got a great crew in the truck that can clip it up and show it, and then you got to mention their names.
Have to. You got Bruce Wolf that's producing tonight. Eric Singer's directing. Teresa Beeler, stats tonight. Her husband, Bob, is the radio voice of Boise State. I talked with John Ramey, the voice of Nevada, the Wolfpack, and he spoke glowingly about his team. He feels like what we said earlier, this conference is relatively deep and a real threat to do some damage in the NCAA tournament. Hill misses the free throw. Is off the mark. Fresno State 2 of 9 at the charity stripe. The freebies just aren't falling. 7-point lead. The dump off to Degenhart was swiped away at the last second. Nice play by Whitaker. Turnover count continues to be ratcheted up for Boise State. 19 and counting. It's their largest total all season long.
Love the way Abo got over that ball screen.
Colomario set the screen. Campbell, pocket 3. Yes. Well, they led by 2 at the end of the first half. And they're 5-1 this season when leading at the end of the break. But right now, they're still down by 4. The Fresno State looking for some offense, and they need some stops. Rice.
One-on-one coverage. Let's see if he goes to work.
Smith just backing down Colomario. That is way too easy for the big man. And Colomero outclassed.
Yeah, he's not too small. He's just not strong enough right there. That's just pure strength and determination and really poise and patience to execute that move.
As soon as we say that, Justin Hudson goes to his bench, and Andre near the scorer's desk. Colin lets it fly. It's a brick off the mark.
And if they don't have a layup or a rim run right here, I'd go right back inside to Najee Smith.
And he's asking for the rock now. Almost like a Patrick Mahomes type of offense at work as the crowd has gone silent. You see that too often here inside ExtraMile Arena. Abo lets it fly. Got it. Well, a hand in his face, degree of difficulty, 9.9.
When you have that high release, you can, I mean, that's one of the highest releases. When I teach players to shoot, I always say on the follow through, get your elbow above your eyebrow. Woo! Did he do that?
Hill trying to carve into it, he does. Moved around Max Rice nicely. Used some glass, and it's a 7-point lead as we're down the wire.
I wanted to get the ball inside. Abo said, no, I got you.
Never mind all that. He'll use whatever's in his arsenal.
Got to get better spacing over there.
Dagenhart trying to go to work.
So now the double. Can you kick it out and make an extra pass or a shot fake?
Bunny. Chabuz. Aho lets it rip, and the fans starting to get on their feet. 10-point lead, largest of the contest, and Shaver called for a foul.
Or was the shot fake that set up Abo's shot? Talk about the fundamentals.
Chibuzo, Abo, I mean, he was left wide open. And you feel like the defense that's been so stingy for Fresno State has been broken down here in the second half, large part because of the ball movement. Abo carving him up. 10-point lead for the home team. This Sunday, it's the NFC Championship game presented by Intuit TurboTax. The San Francisco 49ers take on the Philadelphia Eagles. The trip to Super Bowl 57, it is on the line. It all kicks off at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, with pregame coverage starting at 1 p.m. Eastern, only on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Our friends in Vegas, Dave, say Philadelphia is a slight favorite, 2.5. What say you?
Well, you heard it first from me. I love the Eagles pass rush. And David, we've got the league MVP, Jalen Hurts. That's my team. I'm from the Keystone State.
Well, we'll see what happens. So that game's on Sunday. We have this one here tonight, and it's been a dogfight between two squads that have seen each other in recent years go down to the wire, and now Boise State creating a little bit of separation.
Well, and they're doing it by their defense, but most importantly, they only have 4 turnovers. They had 15 in the first 20 minutes. They have 4 now with 3:40 left.
Hill makes the first free throw. 77% this season.
Who do you have in that football game?
It's tough to go against San Francisco. It's real tough. Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy from Iowa State. That defense, George Kittle's been involved. Christian McCaffrey comes from Carolina to San Francisco.
He's from Allentown, by the way, Central Catholic High School. You know his brother Billy played at Duke.
You let me know. So we'll see. All that fun will be on Fox and the Fox Sports Go app. Fresno State was a monster dog in this contest. In fact, they were considered about 12-point underdogs. They led at the end of this first half by 2, 25-23. 4 to go in the shot clock. Smith goes up, uses plenty of English. Money.
Deja vu of what we saw in the first half with Fresno State on the other end. Being able to get down the tunnel. You can see the pass right there. Boom, the nice little fake, puts the ball on the floor, and watch him. He keeps his chin on the rim. He never took his eyes off the target. What an acrobatic play to be able to get it up off the glass for the finish, trying to complete the three-point play.
64% this season from the stripe, but misses that one. 10-point lead for Boise State. Does Fresno State have a run in them?
Well, if they do, you're going to have to see it now. They're going to have to hit some buckets and get some stops.
Oh, Holland gets fouled on the 3 by Smith. Shot won't go, but 3 free throws heading his way.
just a cardinal sin. You have to be there on the catch, and you have to respect the principle of verticality in terms of shot contestment. You never want to see an open shot. Let's see, the ball gets swung inside. Andre, not sure what he sees the double. He passes it out. And from that view, I could not see live foul. Not sure exactly why he fouled.
Leon Rice asking for an explanation from the officials. They're going to go over and I believe check to see if it was a 3. See Leon right there. See about a flop. So they're going to review a couple of things. Leon Rice, 13th season as the head coach at Boise State, 259 victories during his time, and 150 defeats. 2-time Mountain West Conference Coach of the Year. Did it last year for good reason.
Well, I'll tell you, when you mention his accolades here, you got to talk about his son Brock and Max and Cade. Max and Brock and Cade are on the team. Right here, let's take a look. Well, he definitely was a 3-point attempt. He took off. If that's what, in fact, they're looking at, his feet were well behind the 3. But going back to Leon Rice, you know, it's tough when your son plays for you. Now, I've talked with Leon about this. He called a lot of coaches who coach their sons, Greg McDermott, Steve Alford, and each one gave him about a million reasons why not to do it because of the challenges. And then at the end of the conversation, Coach Rice said, they both said that you got to do it. So, you know, married for 30 years to Robin, he told me she's the CEO. And there's a phrase in his household, POJ, it's part of the job. He didn't get to do many things with his kids growing up, but right now, think about it. Everywhere he goes, every day, he's got Max with him, Cade, who's redshirting. Thank goodness that Robin is a counselor by trade because she's got to counsel all these guys after wins and losses.
And I'll tell you what, quite frankly, he's just got great energy about him. He's good to be around.
Just a good guy. I'll tell you who Coach Munson, I knew a lot of Long Beach State games in the Big West, and when he heard I was doing this, and McGuire Munson was also a GA up here, he said, is one of the best group of people that you could ever possibly be around. And, you know, with Max and Cade being on the team, they're able to bring players over to the house. So Arcee just doesn't have 3 sons. You know, she's got about 18 sons.
Waiting for the officials to come over and hang out with us.
So Boise State's charged with a timeout, and then we'll go shoot the 3 shots for Fresno and play on.
So we got confirmation from our officials. Leon Rice asked for review. He's charged a timeout. Fresno State will be given the 3 free throws from Holland.
Well, based on watching that play, then I couldn't see the angle of the replay. He was wondering if the offensive player, if Campbell came down and struck him and he initiated the contact, because again, the defense has that verticality principle as well.
I love how the officials don't come to us. They come right to you. Like, you're a celebrity in this building. You know everybody in the house.
I think it's just because I had my headset available, and you know what I like when I'm watching games? I like to hear the officials.
Yeah.
It brings you in. You know, I always say, let me take you inside the huddle. He just took you inside their huddle, because there's 3 teams here tonight.
Yeah.
There's Fresno State, there's Boise State, and then there's 3 Zebras that want to get this game right because it's their livelihood.
They got the evaluation, obviously, from game 1 to the final. Once you get into the NCAA tournament, the assignments, no matter where you are in which bracket.
Listen, let's call it truth. I'm a coach. I'm a truth teller.
Yeah.
They missed one bad call. I mean, everyone's going to decipher a call here and there.
Yeah.
They got the charge wrong, right? On that, other than that, they've been invisible. This is a great crew reffing, as you get every night in the Mountain West.
Nice job by Holland to hit the free throws. It's a 7-point lead with Fresno State trying to dial up the pressure defensively. Under 3 minutes to play in regulation. Broncos 2-3 this year when trailing at the end of the first half.
Obviously, using a little clock right here. You're going to love this set. A nice little 1-4 set.
Shaver trying to take Hill off the dribble. Spin move. Andre comes to collect. It's going to be a defensive rebound. I mean, an offensive rebound, but a foul before that against Hill. Andre didn't want to overextend, excuse me.
Yeah, no, just a little isolation. I mean, Shaver looking for the flop call, but he just has the ball on a string, and you can see right there, Andre side saddles him, and it was easy to make the call underneath.
So Andre now guilty of his 4th personal foul. He's near his limit. It was interesting. And one official point to Hill, the other one go to Andre. Regardless, Shaver needs to take care of business here at the free throw line. He's 3 for 3 now, including that one. Coming into this contest, Shaver was right around 72% at the free throw line. He's team's leading scorer, 2nd leading scorer behind Degenhardt. So you have the big boys that do a lot of the heavy lifting. Degenhardt, Shaver, and they've chimed in here tonight.
It's been great to see his maturation. He started at Portland, left after his sophomore year. He's been 3 years here at Boise State.
Isaiah Hill, he's got 12 points, but he needs some help. 3-pointer on the way, short on it, long rebound to Shaver, and he'll just chew up some more clock. And keep in mind with Fresno State, for as tenacious as they were in the opening half, they were doing all this without Isaiah Moore, who's been out for a couple weeks now, officially 2 weeks today because of concussion protocol. They badly need their team's leading scorer.
Leading scorer and leading rebounder.
Yeah. Abo, back iron, stays away. Campbell with the defensive rebound. We're now officially 100 seconds to play in regulation. A 9-point lead for Boise State. Andre into the key with the left hand. Degenhardt didn't want to pick up a cheap foul.
Well, I'll tell you, though, that was great defense, but even greater offense. I mean, you did everything you were supposed to do to wall him up, and he was just able to rise up and knock it down.
Still a 3-possession game, though, and this is going to be a foul against Campbell. And for Campbell, that's his 3rd. 19 foul. So the free throws will continue for Boise State. Again, for Boise State, after this one, they'll stay home. They get Colorado State, 6 p.m. locally. Fresno State returns home, and they get Utah State on January the 28th, 4 p.m. Pacific. It's 7 p.m. Eastern for you. But we look at all of this, and with Shaver putting the finishing touches on this contest, this is what's on tap. There's a lot of work in front of Leon Rice, and he doesn't want his fellas to be content with what they've done so far.
Well, they're playing. They're in the. If the NCAA tournament was next weekend, they're in it. So every game is huge. And why put your fate in somebody's hands or in a computer's hands? What you got to do? And are they going to win out? Probably not. Could they? Absolutely. You never know. Like Russell Westbrook says, why not? But you got to take care of the things that you can control, and that's to win at home. You can't lose inside your building, and then you at least have to split on a road trip. And if you're really good, you can sweep them.
Yeah, Boise State can improve their home record to 9-1 on the year, and they'll get their 16th victory of the season. Rice for 3, book it. Exclamation point for Max. Boise State's going to improve their record to 16-5. Andre into the key. No. Second chance crack at it. He'll score that. And for Fresno State, they're going to fall to 7-12 overall. But more importantly, 3-5 in conference play. Things do not get easier, but again, a banged-up team, and Justin Hudson doing all he can. Coming into tonight, 61 games lost due to injury for their scholarship players.
Well, he would never use this as an excuse, and I'm just going to use it as a fact. Fatigue was a factor in the second half. They came out in that first half, and they were revved up. But when you look at the end of that bench, it's scarce who you can put in. And, they had a fight to them. And you got to credit Boise State for sticking with the script. And as bad as they played in the first half, they took the lead. I think I looked up, it was 21-19 after an 11-2 start.
For Fresno State, the Bulldogs, what's on tap for them? We get 3 of them on FS1 and also the Fox Sports Go app. At Wyoming, at UNLV, at home against San Jose State, and then back to Nevada on the road. Fresno State, their worst shooting performance from long range prior to tonight. They're 1 of 18 against Air Force. 2 of 15, excuse me. And tonight, they're 2 of 25 from long range as Hill scores. But nevertheless, Fresno State going to fall to 2-6 on the year. And for Boise State, they came in this ball game with 4 players averaging double digits. They had 5 here tonight, led by Marcus Shaver, who had 16 points, and Tyson Degenhart had 13. Boise State wins it by 10.
Well, Boise's won 14 of their last 17 games, and they stay on track to defend their regular season championship and make a run in the NCAA tournament. Possession by possession, game by game.
And they certainly got it done here tonight. 5 players in double-digit scoring, and for Boise State, they improved their record to 16-5, winning it 63-53. So for my broadcast partner, Dave Miller, our entire FS1 crew, I'm David Gascon saying so long from Boise, where the Boise State Broncos prevail and win this thing 63-53. Have a wonderful Tuesday night, everyone. So long.